Welcome to Understand the Math. Let's graph the sinusoidal function f of x is equal to 2 sine of 3x minus pi plus 1. We're going to find the amplitude, period, phase shift, and midline of f of x, and then graph the function. Our first step is to rewrite f of x in general form. Let's write down what that general form is. F of x is equal to a times sine times b quantity x minus c plus d. If we write our f of x in this form, we get 2 times sine. Now we're going to pull out the b, which is equal to 3, x minus, and then instead of pi, because we pulled out a 3, we have to write a pi over 3, plus our midline, which is 1. So now our function is in our general form, and we can easily see what a, b, c, and d are. Our a is equal to 2. Our b is equal to 3. Our c is equal to pi over 3. And lastly, our d is equal to 1. For step 3, we're going to find the amplitude, period, phase shift, and midline. The amplitude is the absolute value of a, which is 2. The period is 2 pi divided by the absolute value of b. So this is 2 pi over 3. The phase shift is equal to c, which is pi over 3. And the midline is y is equal to d. So that gives us y is equal to 1. Let's go ahead and let's highlight these values. In our fourth step, we'll find the x values for one period of our function. We're going to start with the interval from 0 to 2 pi, and then we'll adjust x. 0 to 2 pi is our interval for sine x. And that's always the starting point. I've included the amplitude for sine x because we're going to need that in our fifth step. We'll now adjust for our period and our phase shift. We're going to begin by dividing each of our x values by b. Our b is equal to 3. So we'll divide each of our x values by 3. So this gives us 0, pi over 6, pi over 3, pi over 2, and then lastly 2 pi over 3. From this, we can indeed see that our period is 2 pi over 3, what we calculated above. We're now going to add c, or pi over 3, to each of our x values. This gives the x starts at pi over 3, and then pi over 6 plus pi over 3 gives us pi over 2. Pi over 3 plus pi over 3 gives us 2 pi over 3. Pi over 2 plus pi over 3 gives us 5 pi over 6. And then 2 pi over 3 plus pi over 3 gives us pi. I know a lot of students struggle with those fractions, so if you're struggling with that, just hang with it, and you can maybe add the fractions on the margins and see how we got these answers. Let's now make a note that our phase shift is pi over 3, and we can tell that by looking at the change in our first x value. If you're finding this video helpful, give it a thumbs up and also consider subscribing to my channel. In the fifth step, we're going to find values for y or f of x. Let's begin by writing down the interval that we found from step 4. Our function starts at pi over 3 and it goes up to pi. And we'll fill in the points in between. This is what we had on the previous page at the bottom. We'll now take our value for sine that's written in blue and multiply it by a. So let's make a note that A is equal to 2. So our blue values are going to get multiplied by 2. So this is 0, 1 times 2 is 2, and then 0. Minus 1 times 2 is a negative 2, and then a 0. To account for the vertical shift, we're going to add D. So we're going to add D is equal to 1. So we'll take our values in blue and we're going to add 1 to them. So this gives us 1, 2 plus 1 is 3, 1, minus 2 plus 1 is minus 1, and then 0 plus 1 is 1. Our last step is to construct the graph of our function. We'll begin by writing down the x values in our interval. We're going to start at pi over 3, we'll end at pi, and we'll plug in the values in between. Pi over 2, 2 pi over 3, and then 5 pi over 6. We'll then draw our midline, which is y is equal to 1, or in this case, f of x is equal to 1. Next, we'll put in our adjusted sign values listed above. We'll start at 1, and then we go to 3, back down to 1, we go down to negative 1, and then we end at 1. The last step is to connect our points and draw our graph. And then I'm just going to extend the graph a little bit so that we can see that it's going to continue to the left and to the right. I would suggest that you study the steps we've gone over and then complete this example on your own.
If this video has been helpful to you, please consider subscribing to my channel. Keep believing in yourself and have a great rest of your day.